Welcome again to It Doesn't Take a Genius, conversation with introspective perspectives and pithy points of view. Here are your hosts, my friends, Max and Marty.
I think that's Mark and Mike.
Yeah, whatever.
Ramsey!
Mr. Marshall, and some of your closest friends I see there behind you.
My people, yes, there's a mass of people about to do something. In this case, enjoy a concert. However, I have breaking news.
Oh my.
Headline.
Oh my.
Headline. The Great Resignation is likely to continue as 55% of Americans anticipate looking for a new job.
Not good.
Not good. Well,
yeah.
And what's interesting about this is the 55% of people currently have a job. Like, this makes no mention of the people without jobs, which there's like 8 million. But yeah, the people currently employed, more than a little over half of them say, in the next 6 months to a year, I'm going to be doing something different.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's amazing how the pandemic has given a lot of people, it was the great pause for a lot of people and gave them a multiple month opportunity to reevaluate. And a lot of people have reevaluated and said, this isn't what I'm about. I do want to go elsewhere. And they started making those plans, and we're starting to see that come to fruition now. I know you're seeing it with your clients.
Oh yeah. Yeah. In the news, they talked like 4 million people changed jobs, which was, usually there's about 2 million people changing jobs in any given month, but this was double that. And so we're seeing that. And then, yeah, as you said, anecdotally, we're seeing the exact same thing where, you show up and like, where's so-and-so? He left. He's opened a cupcake store, glorious
Switched industries.
He switched industries, or sometimes they're going and doing the same thing just for somebody else. And
so you had a story about that, just to get our ball rolling here. We have some ideas to help you as a manager, as an employer, with sort of the situation of folks itching to leave. But you had a story that really illustrates some of our concepts here. Do you want to share that?
Certainly. Yeah. Last Friday, talking to a manager, and he came into work, and one of the employees came in and said, "Hey, one of our technicians is putting his toolbox on the truck. He's leaving."
Yikes.
And so this was a young guy, 20-something, somebody that I had been hearing about every time I worked with this organization. I got an update on this young person and how well he was doing. He was learning different jobs, and they saw him as a key component of the future. So manager goes out, says, "Hey, what's up?" And the guy says, young kid says, I don't think I can reach my goals here. I don't think I can get where I ultimately want to be with this organization. To which the manager said, "So, what do you want to be?" And the kid shared with him, this young person shared with him his career goals. And lo and behold, it was the exact same career goals that this manager had in mind for this young person.
Oh, heartbreaking.
Yeah. And he's like, we're aligned. This is where we see you. And, and we see this often. I think once people make a commitment, to change, it's very hard to undo that commitment, whether it's embarrassment or just momentum or whatever. The kid said, this other place is kind of laid out for me, their plans for me, and that's where I'm gonna go. And so now we're back to square one. So we had a wonderful feed forward conversation, right? Feedback, never pleasant, right? Let's talk about everywhere we messed up, but feed forward in the future, looking forward, what would you do more, better, different, or less?
Yeah.
And this one was pretty easy. The manager says, well, I need to very early discover what the employee's why is, what drives them, what is their goals, what's their career goals, what's their 1-year plan, their 5-year plan, where they ultimately see themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we're going to talk about 3 different things here that we've sort of picked out of this story and some others like it. And I want to circle all the way back around to that piece of discovery as our sort of wrap up for a very good reason that I think Mike.
Yes.
I'll share that with our audience, both of them, here in a moment.
Yes.
Let's,
you two hang on.
yeah, there's more. But let's start with just talking about that idea of that there might be a career path, there might be a goal that aligns with the employer, and you got to tell them that. So one example that I can give is I had one of my dealership clients working on some service department initiatives, and they went and visited just a superstar in the automotive world who had a really fabulous fixed operations program, service and parts and body shop. And basically, when you were hired in this organization, you started over here as an oil changer on a team, and they saw how you worked. And then they moved you over to another shop where you were doing some more typical jobs beyond that, some simpler jobs, repair jobs, and so on, maintenance jobs. And then if you really passed all your classes, passed the muster with your management team, had been there for a certain amount of time, you got to move into the air conditioned shop as a master technician. So this is obviously in a place that is hot, and it's kind of a big deal. But the thing is think about that. People were willing to change oil, work in sort of a more outdoor environment with no air conditioning, and then move into finally the air conditioned environment after some time. Why would they stick it out there? Well, I mean, yeah, the pay was good, but it wasn't about the pay. It was about the fact that they painted the picture of that from day one. There was a path forward. Like, here's what we're going to do with you, here to here to here to here. This is what you can achieve. So I have an appreciation for the fact that once somebody sees that there's a path ahead of them, guess what? They're no longer in a dead end job, are they? They no longer have the itch to move because they feel like they're trapped.
Oh yeah, no, I think you're spot on, and we hear this all the time about the young worker, the Gen Z, the millennial. People say, well, they show up and on day one they want to be in charge. They want the top management spot when they first start. It's like, that's not true. Yes, they do have aspirations to get there.
Yeah.
What they want is for you to have a clue on how they're going to get there and to share that with them.
Yeah.
And ideally, it would maybe even be in writing.
Ooh.
And one of our great mentors, Greg Tansky, always talked about wants and offers.
Yep.
And so what does this employee want, and what are they willing to offer me in exchange for that? And here's what I want. Here's what I'm willing to offer for you for that. And that offer is this path that you so wonderfully outlined of here's how we're going to progress through this thing.
Yeah. Here's what you'll need to do to hit each of these progressions.
And we talk about the chance for the manager and to discover some things about this new person. And we talk about the Chick-fil-A 3 C's.
Yep.
So the first thing I want to determine your first 6 months may be our organization just determining, do you have the character, the work ethic, values, are we aligned on all that? If you have that. And then, do you have the chemistry? Do you mix well with our team? Do you work well with the people around you? So once we establish the character and chemistry piece, and then we will here's the progression for you to work up through our organization.
Yeah. So I've got a great story on that. I talked to a bank manager yesterday, And I'm going to keep this very vague because somebody ends up getting let go in the story. But basically, they hired a person who was a little bit older to be a teller, and great interview. The whole thing was fine, and they bring her in for onboarding, and she's standing behind this manager who's showing her how to use the system. And then she says, okay, so take over. And so this person steps up and gets a notepad out and starts going, just leaning as far in as possible to the screen. It turns out she had cataracts in both eyes and an astigmatism in one, or something crazy like that. That had not been a part of the interview process. Can you pass an eye chart test? Nobody had thought to ask her that. So they had to, basically, figure out another path forward. But the cool thing about it was that with this bank, they have a rule that, that's not going to go on your record. We're not going to even say that you were employed here if within a certain days period you don't pass our approval, because this isn't for everybody, and we don't want this to be a mark on your resume. So just kind of a cool thing that that bubbled up, even though it was a bad experience on the front end for all parties involved. Frankly, it just didn't work out. So with that being said,
no, it's interesting, and it kind of gets to flexibility, and that's one of the big things that these folks in the workplace are looking for now.
Right.
The pandemic was very eye-opening. People discovered that there's people that live in their homes, apparently their family,
see their kids.
They like them.
Right.
They want to hang out with them. They've discovered bicycling and hiking and stuff like that. And so, there's been a different prioritization in the workplace. Where people are wanting balance. And so another driving force behind the Great Resignation. The other thing that I'm hearing is we've got a lot of employers offering signing bonuses. And so, McDonald's, our local McDonald's, is offering a $50 if you show up for the interview, $500 if you'll start, and then a pretty decent hourly wage on top of that. And so I've been talking to some folks who are, their eyes are bloodshot, their eyes are sunk into their skulls. They have the big circles. They've been, the whatever group they're with has been short staffed. They haven't missed a day in 18 months of trying to help their existing organization.
Right.
And then they hear about the organization offering the signing bonus. It's I've had numerous team members come up to me and go, "Where's my staying bonus? Where's the love for me coming to work, and in some cases risking my life, my family's health, potentially, for all that? Where's that love? Where's that bonus for that?" And so
and you see that with like you said, the millennials get a bad rap. One of the things that I was always taught about the research around millennials was that lifestyle trumps pay. That they might take, instead of 10 grand extra on their salary, maybe like an extra day off every month. Like they'd probably take that over it. Well, maybe lifestyle trumps pay for everybody now. Maybe even our retirees are saying, or the folks that could potentially retire are saying, man, I want to go see my grandkids, or, I want to go to Europe before it's too late, or what have you. And so that flexibility word that you used is just so key. I was talking to a gentleman recently who had been involved with dealership operations for some heavy equipment service centers, dealerships. And one of the things that's happening there is, folks that just eventually you can't do the job. Your body gives out as a technician on working on these big diesel machines. You just can't do the work. It's just too demanding. So instead of having people retire early, they're figuring out some flexible hours. Maybe the person doesn't want to make as much as long as they're able to, just work 3 days a week and change their job description around to where they've got more of a job troubleshooting, giving some quality control to jobs that are being finished to make sure they're really, repaired well. Maybe sort of a mentor role for some younger blood to sort of bring them up through the ranks. So being flexible with what that career path looks like, as maybe somebody's considering, stepping away. What if you gave them, a month off to go do that backpacking through Europe trip that they wanted to do, and then you brought them back in and they came back refreshed and ready to go. And there's all sorts of things that we might be willing to entertain now that we hadn't even thought about 2 years ago.
Oh yeah. Well, and what I've seen with that, I've got some organizations that are doing that as well, where they're a great employee and they've come to the organization and said, hey, in 2 years, you might want to start making plans because I'm not going to be here anymore.
Yep.
And these guys, they have organizational knowledge, technical knowledge. They have, the culture is just part of who they are.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I've had a few of them. Yeah, just the exact same thing. Okay, so what if we got you 3 apprentices to do the heavy lifting, the manual part of your job, and then you brought them up.
Yeah.
And in some cases, it will take 3 people to replace this one person.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're that smart. They're that productive.
Yep.
And so I'm seeing that start to come in place. And what's neat about that is it's an honor. It's recognizing the level of expertise that you've gained over the years. And
That's right.
It's just a nice compliment to the person to say, hey, we value you. You're an incredible resource to our organization, and we see another role for you.
Well, and look at the connection points here, because maybe that's the career path for some people. We haven't once mentioned autonomy, mastery, and purpose. The 3 big motivators, according to the research by Daniel Pink.
Mm-hmm.
And did I say that? Was it Daniel Pink?
Yes.
Yes, it was Daniel Pink. Okay.
Yeah, in his book, Drive.
Yeah. Thank you. Jeez. But maybe the career path for some folks is, I want to make it to that stage where I get apprentices, and that's what helps them stay on board. Right. Mm-hmm. A little bit of autonomy, a little bit of mastery, mixed together there, but that's the career path. So, well, okay, let's summarize this, because we've talked about, painting that career path. We've talked about being flexible, considering the lifestyle, the hours, the pay all together. And then the missing piece here is what you pointed out in the story to begin with. We can't have a career path conversation or a flexibility conversation until we have a conversation. We just might need to do some coaching and do some co-discovery with this person about what they are looking to achieve, what they want, what they're good at, what they need to work on, opportunities for them to gain some awareness for themselves and improve. So thoughts on that, Mike?
Well, I think, the additional piece of that was the manager's failure to uncover the employee's hopes, dreams, goals, their why, however you want to phrase it. And it was those lack of one-on-ones where we had those deeper conversations and got to the heart of what was motivating a team member.
Right.
And that doesn't happen, early. It happens as trust builds, and that comes through consistent interactions and asking great questions and allowing the other person to talk.
Yeah.
And so all of these things are related to many of the coaching habits that we've talked about over a number of episodes. So
100%.
So yeah, we've got a really cool opportunity coming up for our listeners with the next podcast. So take a look at that, and it will deal with all the things that we just referenced.
It really will. And we want to leave you on a little bit of a cliffhanger there, but just the idea of a career path, the idea of flexibility with lifestyle and pay and hours, and coaching, discovery, somehow having that conversation. We've got more coming on that. So I think on that note, we should wrap this up and let our good friend, who's had a wonderful career path, has been very flexible with us, and we've never coached him once because we haven't paid him. And frankly, I don't think he'd let us. John Wolf.
Yes, our announcer. Oh, Lord.
And that's a wrap. It doesn't take a genius. The blog dedicated to reducing the irreducible. Next time, prime numbers. What makes them so special? Join us then, and thanks for listening.
That's good enough.